Good evening, everyone. Tonight I want to explore a truth that many women face, but few talk about openly: the experience of being a woman with no friends. Now I know what you're thinking. No friends? How is that even possible? But here's the thing: we live in a world where social connection is everywhere. We have social media, we have networks, we have work circles, the list goes on. And yet many women feel utterly alone. It's not that they don't know anyone or have acquaintances. It's that they feel disconnected, isolated, and perhaps even misunderstood. Being a woman with no friends isn't about a lack of opportunity. It's not about being unlovable or undesirable. In fact, some of the most charismatic, talented, and beautiful women are quietly battling this very issue. But somewhere along the way, they may have learned to withdraw, or worse, felt like they didn't belong. What happens when we grow up and our connections start to fade? Friendships that were once so close become distant as life pulls us in different directions. Some of us become so focused on career, family, or survival that we forget how to nourish those meaningful connections. And the truth is, without the right friends, the kind who understand, the ones who truly get us, we begin to lose parts of ourselves. We forget how to laugh freely, to vent without judgment, to share our dreams without fear. But here's the thing: loneliness is not a reflection of who we are, but sometimes a reflection of what we've experienced. It's a signal that we need to recalibrate, to find those people who lift us up, who challenge us, and who hold us when we need it the most. Friendship is an art. It's a dance of trust, vulnerability, and mutual respect. And sometimes it takes time to find that circle of women who truly support each other. It's not about quantity, it's about quality. One real friend who shows up for you can mean more than 1,000 followers online. What can we do? Start by being vulnerable. Start by showing up for ourselves and for others. Create spaces where authenticity is welcomed. Don't be afraid to lean into discomfort or take risks in building new connections. The truth is, there is no shame in not having friends, but there is immense beauty in finding those few who truly walk beside us. To every woman out there who feels like she's in this space of loneliness, know that your journey is not over. There is so much power in knowing that the next chapter of your life could be filled with laughter, shared moments, and deep bonds. Don't close yourself off to the possibility of true, meaningful friendships. Because sometimes the greatest friendships aren't found in the places we expect, but in the moments when we're brave enough to reach out and say, "I need you." It's never too late to find your people. And when you do, the magic of connection will remind you you are not alone. You never were. Loneliness is not a reflection of who you are. Loneliness is often seen as a personal flaw, as if being alone somehow indicates a failure of character or social ability. But this couldn't be further from the truth. Loneliness is not a judgment on your worth or your identity. It's simply a reflection of your current circumstances or the life chapter you're in. It can stem from various factors: the natural ebb and flow of relationships, changes in life priorities, or the feeling that the people around you don't truly understand you. We live in a world that often equates social status and popularity with personal value. In this environment, it's easy to fall into the trap of believing that if we're alone, we are somehow less. We might ask ourselves, why am I alone? Is there something wrong with me? But here's the truth: being alone does not define who you are. In fact, some of the most profound and self-empowered people have experienced intense loneliness. It's a space where you can rediscover your true self, free from outside distractions. It's a time for reflection, growth, and even healing. Loneliness can be a signal to focus inward and develop a stronger relationship with yourself, allowing you to be more fully present when the right people do come into your life. We must also remember that loneliness is not synonymous with isolation. It's possible to be surrounded by people and still feel alone. It's the lack of meaningful connection that creates the emptiness, not the number of people around you. And conversely, it's possible to be physically alone and feel deeply connected to your own purpose, dreams, and values. When we allow ourselves to acknowledge that loneliness doesn't define us, we give ourselves permission to reframe it as an opportunity for growth rather than a negative reflection on our worth. We are not our loneliness. It's simply a season, one that will pass as we learn, evolve, and open ourselves to new possibilities. If you're feeling lonely right now, know that it doesn't mean you're broken, unworthy, or less than anyone else. It simply means you're in a transition, and this phase is part of your journey, not the final definition of who you are. Embrace it, learn from it, and trust that better days and stronger connections are ahead. Friendship isn't something that can be rushed or manufactured. It's an organic process that unfolds over time, built on trust, understanding, and shared experiences. The foundation of any deep, lasting friendship requires not only time, but also vulnerability, the willingness to open up, show your true self, and take emotional risks with another person. In a world that often prioritizes instant gratification, it's easy to forget that real friendship, the kind that truly nourishes us, takes time to cultivate. It's not something that happens overnight. You don't just meet someone and immediately become best friends. The deeper connections, the ones that truly support us, challenge us, and help us grow, are formed through shared experiences and a gradual process of getting to know one another. Think about the friendships you hold dear. They likely didn't start with an instant bond. They grew through conversations, shared moments of joy, laughter, and sometimes even hardship. As time passed, you both opened up to each other, slowly revealing the more vulnerable parts of yourselves. You shared your fears, your dreams, your weaknesses, and your joys. Each conversation, each experience deepened the trust between you. And with time, that vulnerability became the glue that held the friendship together. Vulnerability is not just about sharing your thoughts, it's about exposing your raw emotions and being willing to be seen for who you truly are, without the masks we often wear to protect ourselves. It requires courage, because when we are vulnerable, we make ourselves susceptible to rejection, misunderstanding, or even judgment. But it's also in this vulnerability that the true depth of a friendship emerges. A friendship where both people can be open, where they feel safe to express their true selves, becomes a sanctuary from the world's judgments and expectations. Vulnerability fosters empathy. When you share your struggles, your fears, and your dreams with someone, it allows them to understand you on a deeper level. It gives them the opportunity to connect with you not just as a person in their life, but as a soul with depth, emotions, and experiences. And as you listen to them share their own truths, you create a cycle of trust and understanding that strengthens the bond over time. But here's the truth: not every relationship will reach that level of depth, and that's okay. Not every person you meet will be someone you can be vulnerable with, and that's normal. However, those friendships where you can truly let your guard down and be yourself are the ones that stand the test of time. They are the relationships that weather challenges, that celebrate your victories, and that comfort you during your darkest moments. If you're feeling like you're struggling to find that level of connection with others, remember this: real friendships take time to build. They require patience, consistency, and the willingness to be vulnerable. The more you show up, the more you allow yourself to be open and honest, the more you invite the possibility of deep, meaningful connections. It's through this vulnerability that you will find friends who truly get you, the ones who will stand by your side, not because of what you can offer, but because of who you are. In a world that often places value on the number of connections we have, whether it's followers on social media, the size of our social circles, or the number of people who like our posts, it's easy to fall into the trap of believing that more is better. However, when it comes to friendships, the real value lies not in how many people we know, but in the quality of those relationships. True, meaningful friendships are not measured by the number of people in your life, but by how deeply you connect with those who are there. It's about the depth of the bond, the trust you share, and the mutual understanding that makes those relationships valuable. A handful of true friends who know you, support you, and are there when you need them can offer more fulfillment than 1,000 acquaintances who merely know your name. Let's think about it for a moment. How many times have we been in large groups, surrounded by people, and yet still felt alone? The sheer number of people around us does not guarantee a sense of belonging. In contrast, a single solid friendship where you feel truly understood and accepted can offer a profound sense of connection and fulfillment. Quality friendships are grounded in shared values, experiences, and emotional support. These relationships take effort and time to build, but they provide a foundation of trust and security. When life gets tough, it's not the number of friends we have that matters, it's the quality of the ones who show up. A true friend is someone who will be there for you during both the highs and the lows, someone who listens without judgment, who challenges you to grow, and who celebrates your successes as their own. Think about the friendships that have lasted in your life. Perhaps you've had acquaintances come and go, but the people who have stayed by your side, the ones who understand your quirks, your flaws, and your dreams are the ones that truly matter. These are the people who aren't just there for the good times, they're there for the hard conversations, the moments when you're feeling lost or uncertain, and the times when you need a friend to remind you of your worth. A key aspect of quality over quantity is that these friendships are rooted in authenticity. You don't need to wear a mask or pretend to be someone you're not. True friends accept you as you are with all your imperfections and flaws. They encourage you to be your best self while loving you through your struggles. These connections are not transactional, but genuine, built on mutual respect and understanding. And remember, quality friendships also require reciprocity. It's not just about what you get from them, but what you offer in return. A strong friendship is a two-way street where both people give and take in equal measure, offering support, compassion, and encouragement. It's about being present for one another, showing up when it matters, and nurturing the relationship. In a world where it's easy to become obsessed with networking and expanding your circle, it's important to pause and reflect on the relationships that truly enrich your life. How many of those relationships are built on genuine connection and understanding? How many people in your life would drop everything to be there for you in a moment of need? Quality over quantity means choosing depth over superficiality. It means investing your time and energy into the relationships that truly matter, the ones that nurture your soul and bring out the best in you. It's not about how many friends you have, it's about having the right friends who see you for who you truly are and love you anyway. The next time you feel pressured to maintain a large social circle, remember this: true friendships don't come from numbers. They come from authenticity, trust, and the willingness to invest in the people who truly make a difference in your life. One loyal friend is worth more than 1,000 acquaintances, and those friendships will stand the test of time. Reaching out and being vulnerable is at the heart of creating genuine, lasting connections. In a world where it's often easier to stay guarded, to keep up walls, or to hide behind the distractions of busy lives, vulnerability can feel like a risk. Yet it is through vulnerability that we open ourselves to the possibility of deeper relationships, greater understanding, and emotional fulfillment. The first step in building meaningful friendships is often the hardest: reaching out. It's easy to become isolated or to retreat into our own worlds when we feel unsure or insecure. The fear of rejection or the fear of being misunderstood can stop us from making the first move. But reaching out, whether it's a simple message to someone you admire, an invitation to join a social gathering, or even just starting a conversation with someone new, is the first courageous step towards connection. When you reach out, you are not just making a friendly gesture, you are offering a part of yourself. You are saying, "I see you. I want to connect with you. I'm willing to step outside of my comfort zone." It's an invitation to share and to open the door to mutual understanding. Sometimes simply taking the initiative is enough to break down the barriers of isolation, both for you and for others. You might find that the person on the other end of that outreach is just waiting for someone to take the first step. However, the real magic happens when we go beyond just reaching out. It happens when we allow ourselves to be vulnerable. Vulnerability is the willingness to expose parts of ourselves that we often keep hidden: our fears, our insecurities, our true emotions, and our desires. It's not about seeking sympathy or pity, but about showing up as our authentic selves without pretense or masks. When you are vulnerable, you create an opportunity for deeper connection. It's in these moments of openness that the real bonds form. When we share our authentic experiences, others are invited to do the same. This mutual exchange of vulnerability is what builds trust and understanding. It's what makes relationships feel real and not surface level. Without vulnerability, we are left with a series of interactions that lack the depth that truly nourishes our emotional needs. Being vulnerable also means showing up with all your imperfections. It's about saying, I don't have it all figured out, but I'm here and I'm open to learning and growing with you. It means sharing not only the highlights of your life, but also the struggles, the moments of doubt, and the challenges you face. This vulnerability creates space for others to feel seen and heard as well. It encourages them to be authentic with you, and it cultivates a sense of mutual support. But vulnerability doesn't just apply to the big moments. It's also about the small, everyday acts of openness: sending a text to check in on someone, offering a kind word when someone is feeling down, or sharing something personal in a conversation that allows the other person to see the real you. These everyday moments of vulnerability are the building blocks of strong, authentic friendships. Think about the friendships you hold dear. They likely didn't start with an instant bond. They grew through conversations, shared moments of joy, laughter, and sometimes even hardship. As time passed, you both opened up to each other, slowly revealing the more vulnerable parts of yourselves. You shared your fears, your dreams, your weaknesses, and your joys. Each conversation, each experience deepened the trust between you. And with time, that vulnerability became the glue that held the friendship together. Vulnerability is not just about sharing your thoughts, it's about exposing your raw emotions and being willing to be seen for who you truly are, without the masks we often wear to protect ourselves. It requires courage, because when we are vulnerable, we make ourselves susceptible to rejection, misunderstanding, or even judgment. But it's also in this vulnerability that the true depth of a friendship emerges. A friendship where both people can be open, where they feel safe to express their true selves, becomes a sanctuary from the world's judgments and expectations. Vulnerability fosters empathy. When you share your struggles, your fears, and your dreams with someone, it allows them to understand you on a deeper level. It gives them the opportunity to connect with you not just as a person in their life, but as a soul with depth, emotions, and experiences. And as you listen to them share their own truths, you create a cycle of trust and understanding that strengthens the bond over time. But here's the truth: not every relationship will reach that level of depth, and that's okay. Not every person you meet will be someone you can be vulnerable with. And that's normal. However, those friendships where you can truly let your guard down and be yourself are the ones that stand the test of time. They are the relationships that weather challenges, that celebrate your victories, and that comfort you during your darkest moments. If you're feeling like you're struggling to find that level of connection with others, remember this: real friendships take time to build. They require patience, consistency, and the willingness to be vulnerable. The more you show up, the more you allow yourself to be open and honest, the more you invite the possibility of deep, meaningful connections. It's through this vulnerability that you will find friends who truly get you, the ones who will stand by your side, not because of what you can offer, but because of who you are. Whether you're navigating loneliness, seeking to deepen existing relationships, or stepping into new social spaces, remember that it's never too late to form connections that matter. Friendships built on vulnerability and shared trust not only enrich our lives, but help us grow into our truest selves. And as we reach out, allow ourselves to be seen, and open up to others, we invite the kind of support, love, and understanding that only real connection can provide. Building meaningful relationships is about more than just filling a void or passing time. It's about creating spaces in our lives where we feel understood, valued, and supported. The most fulfilling connections are born out of honesty, vulnerability, and the willingness to invest in each other. When we prioritize quality over quantity, we discover the beauty of deep connections that nourish our hearts and souls. Remember, no matter where you are in life, the power to form meaningful bonds is always within your reach. It's not about how many people are in your life, but about the depth of the relationships you nurture. Each step you take toward being vulnerable, authentic, and open to others brings you closer to finding the connections that will stand the test of time. In every season, there are opportunities for growth, for new beginnings, and for the kind of friendships that make life richer and more rewarding. And as you continue to reach out and embrace the possibility of connection, you'll find that the people who truly belong in your life will naturally gravitate toward you, enriching your world in ways you never imagined possible.